Hello everybody, I am Sebastian Quintanilla, aka Arico, and I am here today to talk a bit about my time with Stormgate. What you see on screen right now is from a video Frostjan has released today. You can find the link to it in the description below. But as part of this release, Frostjan has allowed people with access to the alpha to talk about their experience with the game so far, and to show you some of the gameplay you're seeing right now. Before I get into all the details, I do want to clarify that Frostjan has not editorialized any of what I'm saying in this video, but I did ask them to review it just to make sure that I wasn't breaking any part of the NDA, because although parts of the NDA has been lifted, not all of it has. With that said, I'm having a blast with Stormgate, but maybe not for the reasons you might normally expect. I love janky games. I love early access games. I have poured days of my life tinkering with proofs of concepts and single dev projects and talk with them about the mechanics that make their games enjoyable, the sort of gameplay loop that hooks players in. Stormgate gives me that same fuzzy feeling of I know what they're going for and I can see the foundations. That is not to say that Stormgate feels completely unfinished or has so many bugs or things like that. It definitely doesn't. It has a few bugs, obviously, it's an alpha, but it's more so that it doesn't have a ton of content yet. It's very much clearly a game in the middle of its development. It's not a promotional closed beta, it's not a finished game that is super buggy and then gets fixed down the line. It's a game in the middle of its development, a game with developers that pop out of nowhere from over your shoulder, or in this case, join a Discord's voice chat out of the blue and take notes on what you're doing and what you're saying about the game alongside the other playtesters. That is to say nothing of the hundreds of posts in the feedback channel of people talking and debating about all of the different parts of the game, which is obviously going to be a ton of feedback for the Frostjan team to go over. I think if you're not in the alpha right now, you shouldn't be too worried about getting in as soon as possible. Like I said, not a ton of content right now for you to dig through, but it's definitely a fun experience. I think it will be a really fun game because the core mechanics are there, they are fun, but you couldn't sit down and play for like 8 hours for an entire week and get through everything, right? You might go through all of the things that are right now in the alpha in as little as like 1 hour, maybe 2, maybe if you had more theory crafting on top of it, you might get more, but that's about it. So don't feel like you're missing out on anything right now. The other thing that I really wanted to talk about on this video was the esports side of Stormgate, or at least the competitive side of Stormgate, if you will. So back in the Bailing Alpha, which is the previous alpha to the one that is ongoing, the team at Rallycry, which is a tournament platform side, ran an end of the alpha tournament. So for it, Beowulf, a fantastic StarCraft 2 caster and content creator, was kind enough to let me volunteer as a co-caster alongside him for the entirety of the tournament, both days. He did 90% of the work. I was there to fill the space. I really think you should check him out. He is going to have a video on Stormgate out as well, so you should definitely go watch it. But I'm so excited that somehow I ended up on an official Frostjan video as a quote-unquote caster. That is insane. I've never thought that would happen, and I think that's a bit of a foreshadow for something that I'm gonna mention a little bit more towards the end of the video. So the other part that I haven't been able to talk about before, and that I'm so excited about, and I've been, just itching to share with people, is that I've been hosting weekly tournaments for the Chronosphere Alpha. I got permission from the Frostjan team to do it, and you can see the results right now. Here they are up on the screen. These are the brackets for the tournaments that I've run in Chronosphere so far, and it's been so fun. I just wanted to give playtesters more opportunities to play in a competitive format, to try and figure out some of the basic ideas of where Stormgate competition might go towards, but obviously it's too early to tell. I don't know, I just like experimental shit, okay? But I think the highlight for me has been the difference between my experience with Stormgate so far and my experience with Age of Empires 4. I think those that know me from my Age of Empires 4 tournaments know the full extent of my love of esports, but more so competitive, inclusive tournaments and kind of having a healthy competitive scene, a way for communities to rally locally, regionally, and internationally to figure out who the best players and teams are, right? And on this, I am super excited for Stormgate. The contrast between Age of Empires and Stormgate as a competitively minded player and organizer is beyond belief. I have never had such simple yet profoundly influential conversations with developers in any Age of Empires space. I've had multiple opportunities to provide feedback and collaborate with the team at Frost Giant, some of whom, reached out to me first to ask me if there was something they could do to help me organize my events, or wanting, to contact me for more information about the things that I was doing. And I think that is, an experience that I've never had in almost 3 years of doing stuff within the Age of Empires scene. I would understand it if I were like ESL or Take TV or Africa. Sure, those are companies with collectively millions of potential impressions on their projects, and I would safely assume that they are talking with FrostGen already. But for that developer to make an effort to talk to me, a volunteer tournament organizer, completely on his own, feels crazy. It feels absolutely like a whiplash from what I've experienced in other competitive scenes. I know the first step to having a great and healthy esport is to have a good game as its base. Obviously, if the game is good, it's gonna draw a lot of people, and that will take a lot of time and a lot of skill, and it is entirely in the hands of Frost Giant to do. But from the opportunities I had to play, watch, and talk with developers and other playtesters so far, I think that thankfully that is a question of when it will happen and not if it will, when it comes to Stormgate at least. So I'm very excited to see it.